I was born on June 4th, 1928, with the name Carola Siegel in a village not far from Frankfurt, Germany. I was an only child to Orthodox Jewish parents, not rich people, but the first 10 years of my childhood were ideal. Loving parents, a doting grandmother, and they cared for me very much. But in the 1930s, things changed drastically as Hitler came to power. One morning in November 1938, the Nazis arrived at the apartment. There was no shouting, but I was 10 and a half, so I was scared. I remember the black boots, and the Nazis told my father, "Get dressed." My grandmother had money. In the seam of her skirt, she gave it to the Nazi and said, "Take good care of my son." They took my father downstairs, and before he went into the truck, he turned around and smiled and waved, despite the fact that he must have been horrified. A few months before the war broke out, it looked very bleak in Germany. Synagogues were burned and the Jewish business were plundered. My father sent a postcard from the labor camp saying that I have to join a group of Orthodox Jewish children, a Kindertransport, that were permitted to come to Switzerland. I didn't want to leave Frankfurt. I had 13 dolls, I had 2 dollhouses, I had roller skates. I was an only child. I had a grandmother who had nothing else to do but to take care of me. But I was 10 and a half, and when I saw that postcard, I knew I had to go. The next morning, my mother and grandmother came with me to the railroad station in Frankfurt. My mother hugged me, my grandmother hugged me. I went into the wagon. I looked out and I did what my father had done. I was very sad, but I waved at them in order to make it easier for them to say goodbye. Hello?
You're not going to believe this woman. She has a deep German accent, and she talks about sex. And I think we should do something with her.
In the early 80s, people did not talk about sexuality.
You have a certain list of words you can't say. Well, we said them.
And then let him insert his penis into the vagina from behind.
We didn't think it would explode like it did.
And then, of course, you got her own television shows.
Before I started to do television, the most important thing for me was education. While I was studying, I was a single mother. I got a position at Planned Parenthood, and I loved it. I never compromised, even when it was not popular.
Ruth, I'm placing you under arrest.
Are there parts of your past that you don't like to talk about?
Of course.
She's had a lot of tragedies in her life.
Having been raised with no family around, there was no place on earth for me.
She was a young child living in Frankfurt, Germany, when the Nazis came to power.
Because of my background as a German Jewish refugee, I had a sensitivity for the people who were regarded as subhuman.
Ruth started to shift awareness of HIV and AIDS.
There is no such thing as retiring for me. Hello? Say the word sex with more emotion. I have an obligation to live large and make a dent in this world. At 90, still talking about sex from morning till night.